Hello Nadiflow yoga community, Carlyn here, and I'm here today with Patty Jackson, life coach, owner of Thrive Life Services. Patty, can you tell us a little bit about what it means to be a life coach and what you do as a life coach?
Well, as a life coach, I let people listen to themselves. I help them get back to their answer within their core of who they are so that they can live their authentic life. What I do as a life coach is I meet with people one-on-one, and I work with couples. I even work with teens. And then I teach classes and I certify people as life coaches. What I love when I'm working with people is I can see them when they're talking from their inspiration, when they're talking and they're listening to their heart and they're being it. I can see it. I can see it in their eyes. They spark and light up. So what I do is I call attention to it. Where's that coming from? What does that feel like inside you as you're speaking from that? So just exercising that feeling inside and their own awareness of when they're already living from their flow, it does wonders. And if people are confused and they can't find it, I ask them to just take a deep breath and connect with their heart. And then I ask them to ask themselves the question they have. And just with that little bit of time, they connect to their inspiration pretty quickly.
Wow, so it sounds like there's a relationship between this flow state of being and the feeling of inspiration and the feeling of being inspired. So that kind of reminds me of yoga and vinyasa flow yoga and how I feel when I'm flowing on my yoga mat in movement. And so can you tell me a little bit about how this feeling of flowing in movement can relate to flowing in life and living this inspired flow?
So I think of the world as my yoga mat, and everybody gets to be in and out of their flow a little bit. Just like when people are in yoga, they get out and they maybe get out of balance or they're stretching to a place where they haven't stretched before. It's really important to just be in a place of holding that space for yourself of self-love. And a lot of people don't know what that means. It's a good idea, but what does it really mean in action? So that's one of the things I help people do is find a way to support themselves when they're out of balance and find a way to get back to their balance in a less amount of time.
One thing that I heard you say that's really, really cool is if we have our yoga mat, and our yoga mat is our space to go and explore, and our space to do what's comfortable and those poses we know so well, but also our space to stretch to the point of discomfort and breathe through it. Also our space to lose our balance and fall with intention and get back up. So when I'm on my yoga mat, I accept all these parts of me. I accept the part that flows. I accept the part that feels pain. And I accept the part that falls down and loses balance. So when you wrap the world in a yoga mat, this sounds like I have a place to explore and a really safe place to live in my flow.
That's exactly what it is.
Tell us about a couple of the ways that you can help people remember who they are and feel that inspiration and live that empowered life.
One of the things that I help people to do to make the world their yoga mat is to, whenever they notice themselves worrying, to just take a deep breath and let themselves wonder instead.
So turning worry to wonder is a tool. Worry to wonder.
Yeah, just try it right now. Think the thought, I wonder. And notice what happens. I wonder. I wonder who's
Suddenly
going to
that
hear
possibility,
this.
that feeling of possibility comes.
Ready for the next one?
I'm ready for the next one.
One of the ones I really love to do is catch people when they're feeling guilty and let them just shift a little bit into gratitude. And that little shift takes the emotional pain out of feeling guilty and lets them see the world from the filter of balance and flow.
Wow. From guilt to gratitude.
Right.
This morning, when we were at Creating an Intentional Week, which is one of the many gatherings that Patty leads as a life coach, we talked a lot about how we can intend to be inspired. And so let's just talk a little bit about the power of intention.
Intention is actually part of our inspiration. If I intend in my mind, it's really just called thinking. But when I intend something, it comes from the deepest part of me. So what's my intention is actually a question that brings me deep within, so I can find out what that is that my heart and soul really wants this week, because I'm always learning and growing, and that inner teacher in me is always helping me. So when we do Creating an Intentional Week, that's what I love. I'm getting into my intention, and it's not thinking. It opens up my mind to the possibilities, so when it shows up in a different way, I can feel the magic of life. So it's not really about getting things done, it's about finding that inspiration within, where it feels like there's a hand on your back just moving you through life with ease.
I think a couple of the great things that we can take away from Patty today, and we can take away from this collaboration with Nadiflow and Thrive Life Services, is that to remain inspired is a beautiful way to live. And we can do that by turning worry to wonder. And we talked about turning guilt to gratitude. And I think that one other thing to always remember is the power of our intention. The intention can launch us to the endless possibilities that exist for us. The world is wrapped in a yoga mat. My yoga mat is my safe space to explore. This world is my safe space to live, make mistakes, lose my balance, but ultimately find that inspiration and be committed to living through the inspired me that I know that I am. I am Carlyn. This is Patty Jackson. Thank you so much for viewing today.